You're eating only 3 crops and losing over 7,000 others. Every vanished species brings us one step closer to hunger. Around 795 million people worldwide, that's 1 in 9, don't get enough to eat and go to bed hungry every night. Between 1970 and 2014, populations of vertebrate animals, mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians declined by an average of 60%. But are these two crises, hunger and species extinction, connected? And could this link drive our already hungry planet into even deeper food insecurity? Biodiversity is the variety of living organisms on Earth: plants, animals, and microorganisms. It's not just about nature, it's about survival. Without biodiversity, forests can't grow, soil can't regenerate, farming can't continue, and humanity can't eat. Here's how it works. Soil microbes like bacteria and fungi help plants grow. Bees and butterflies make fruit and vegetable production possible. Diverse crops act as a safety net against drought, disease, and climate stress. When we lose species, we lose the balance, and eventually, we lose our food. What happens when biodiversity declines? Farming systems weaken. Declining biodiversity means fewer plant species and fewer organisms living in the soil. This leads to degraded soil, reduced resilience against pests, and a loss in crop variety. The result: less food and fewer types of food. Climate resilience drops. Biodiversity helps ecosystems adapt to climate change. Different species can survive under different conditions. But in monocultures where only corn or wheat is grown, extreme weather or disease can trigger widespread food shortages. Nutrition quality decreases. Fewer species mean fewer nutrients on our plates. This leads to poor and unbalanced diets, increasing the risk of hidden hunger, micronutrient deficiencies that silently affect billions. Natural resources are depleted. Biodiversity helps manage natural resources sustainably. When forests, wetlands, and soils disappear, communities, especially in rural areas, struggle to find food and clean water. In the last 100 years, humanity has cleared forests, planted the same crops over and over, industrialized agriculture, disrupting natural balance. Soil has become impoverished. Monoculture farming has spread disease. 40% of bees and butterflies are now at risk of extinction. Here's a stark example. In the US, 90% of almond production relies on bees. But as bee populations drop, tons of almonds are now at risk every year. This isn't just about losing one nut, it's about weakening the entire food chain. How does biodiversity loss affect hunger? The loss of biodiversity reduces both the quantity and the variety of food we produce. Monotonous diets are on the rise. In many developing and even developed countries, diets are becoming increasingly uniform. Globally, most people now rely on just 3 staple crops: wheat, rice, and corn. Why? These crops are high-yielding, easy to grow across large areas, relatively cheap, and long-lasting. Especially in regions like Asia, Africa, and Latin America, they dominate the dinner plate. Nutritional value is declining. There may be food on the table, but it lacks essential vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients. This is known as hidden hunger, when people eat enough calories but not enough nutrients. The consequences are serious: weakened immune systems, chronic fatigue, stunted growth, neurological issues, and hormonal imbalances. The most vulnerable: children, pregnant women, and the elderly, whose bodies need more nutrients to stay healthy. Local communities can't access food. When natural resources are destroyed, millions of rural people can no longer grow their own food. Take Africa, for example. Traditional agriculture relied on indigenous seeds adapted over thousands of years to local soil, climate, and drought. But these resilient seeds are being replaced by hybrid varieties, which struggle under harsh climate conditions, must be purchased anew each season. Increased costs for small-scale farmers. Food insecurity rises, biodiversity declines further, and communities lose control over their own survival. When one dies, others follow. In nature, everything is connected. When one species disappears, it creates a domino effect. If a plant goes extinct, the insects that feed on it may also vanish, followed by the birds and animals that depend on those insects. This fragile web can unravel quickly. The numbers are alarming. In Latin America and the Caribbean, wildlife populations have dropped by 94%. In Europe, 37% of bee species are now at risk of extinction. In the US, nearly one-third of honeybee colonies have vanished in just 15 years. Since 2000, more than 17% of the Amazon rainforest has been destroyed. In Europe, butterfly populations have declined by 50%. In 2016, over half of the Great Barrier Reef was lost to coral bleaching. In Africa, forest elephant populations have declined by 86% in the last 30 years. Rhinos remain critically endangered due to poaching and habitat loss. Our global food system is also dangerously narrow. 75% of the world's food comes from just 12 plant species and 5 animal species. Yet in the past, humans used to eat over 7,000 different plant varieties. We're not just losing animals and plants. We're losing resilience. We're losing options. We're losing the balance that keeps our planet, and us, alive. What can we do? Protect local species. Support small-scale farmers and encourage the use of native seeds. Native species are adapted to local ecosystems and are more resilient to climate change. Increase agricultural diversity. Move away from monoculture farming and create more diverse systems. Embrace practices like polyculture, permaculture, and agroecology that foster biodiversity and sustainability. Be a conscious consumer. Look beyond the store shelves. Investigate the production process of the products you buy. Reading labels is important, but questioning the producer's practices is even more crucial. Defend nature. Stand against the destruction of forests, wetlands, and biological corridors. Because when nature thrives, so does food security. Biodiversity isn't just a natural issue, it's the future of our food. Every species that disappears means the loss of a potential food source. Biodiversity is humanity's insurance policy. If we don't protect it, hunger could soon knock on our door.